From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is Good Day Tampa Bay.
That time of year, time to take the pool covers off. But wait, what you need to know before letting everybody dive in. Preparing your pool for more than just the swimmers, how you can protect yourself from lawsuits and other liability issues. Talking about that when we come back. Welcome back. Hot outside means time to jump in the pool. But before we dive in, there's things we may want to know, especially if we are pool owners. Dale Appell here to explain. It's Ask a Lawyer Day. Lawyers are here till 9:30 answering your calls. It's all free. So call if you've got a question. But let's talk about pools and pool safety and pool lawsuits.
Yes.
You could be setting yourself up for one if you don't do the right things, right?
Yes, it's definitely a concern this season as we have pool parties and people over your house. So one of the first things to do this season would probably pull your policy, your homeowner's policy, and make sure that pools are covered. If it's not covered, you might call your agent and get a certain rider that makes sure that pools are covered in these situations.
What kinds of things do you need to worry about if you have a pool?
Well, some of the things to be concerned about is normal safety. So you're going to want to make sure that your diving board works correctly. You're going to make sure that there's not a slip hazard. You want to make sure that a lot of times people use cement around the pool, just like we have sidewalks, because they are resistant to slipping. Unfortunately, sometimes people get creative and they like to use teak wood or things that are more slippery, especially if there's mold. So we want to be careful about that. If there's something broken in your pool, so for example, if the light in the pool has got a crack in it, somebody could hurt themselves and get cut. So there's all sorts of things. Lighting is important, especially if you have pool parties at night. And if you have young kids, you're going to want to set up some type of guard around it, especially young kids, to make sure that someone can fall into the pool when an adult's not paying attention.
I mean, this year it's going to make some people think twice. But I mean, is there that you took reasonable care? Does that defend you in any way?
Absolutely. You're not responsible for when somebody gets hurt on your property. People often think that that's the case, but it's not true. You're only responsible if you were negligent or were unreasonable in your actions and somebody got hurt on your property. But if somebody really gets hurt, you generally can find some aspect, perhaps, of unreasonableness. So do everything you can, but then also protect yourself with an insurance policy just in case.
And you said something to me that I was really surprised to hear about. If some kid comes onto your property, sneaks onto your property, trespassing, and something happens to them, you're responsible for that.
I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. And again, it goes back to that negligence and reasonableness. But you're considered to have an attractive nuisance in your neighborhood with kids. And kids are off from school, they have nothing else to do. They know you have a pool, no one else has a pool, and they go into your property. You can actually be held responsible for that under the laws of attractive nuisance. And so you should do things to protect kids from being able to get into your pool. So, for example, locks. You have to have a fence, that's helpful. A lock. If you know kids are getting around the lock, you might put up an alarm system. But there's all kinds of different things that you can do, because you have to realize that that is a possibility that kids may find your pool attractive and actually have a party with you not even being home. And you can be held responsible under the attractive nuisance law.
But at the very least, before we go any farther, I mean, you said it at the very beginning, but we should probably say again, check your homeowner's policy and make certain. Go ahead.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Check your homeowner's policy, but what I see a lot of people not doing is checking to see the amount of coverage. And so it's important that you consider the amount of assets you have. If you have a very small homeowner's policy in terms of amount and somebody has a huge injury, they may look at your assets and say, well, they have rental properties and they have businesses and so forth, and they can pursue that instead of your homeowner's policy. So make sure that your homeowner's policy matches the level of assets that are exposed in a lawsuit, and that way you can have a pool party and feel relaxed and comfortable.
Great advice. Hey, Dale, good to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks
Russell.
for doing this. To all our lawyers, thanks for doing this.